All right. So you can do this with eyes open or eyes closed, whatever's most comfortable for you. We're just taking this moment, acknowledging this time of transition from whatever you've been doing today, whether it's your early morning or afternoon or late in the evening. Just think about all that you've done so far that's led you here to this moment right now. And if you can, just let everything know that you'll come back to it. For this little while, you're taking all of your attention and focus just to turn inward and have time to meet yourself just as you are. You might notice if there's an intention that you're bringing into today's meditation. There might be something that you're hoping to explore or open into. Perhaps something you'd like to meet and greet and let go of. Whatever your intention, you feel it now. Notice how it lights up in your body. And if there are words, just affirm it in the present tense. So you can feel the actuality of it in this moment. And nothing you need to do, nothing you need to know. Just this moment of resting here. You might feel the groundedness, the weight of your body as it rests and sinks more fully into the surface that's supporting you. Let attention begin to explore sensations in your mouth, your ears, your whole head. Feeling down through the shoulders, arms, and hands. You feel the sensation of your torso, belly, the chest, even the backside of your body as it expands gently with each inhalation and recedes, softens on each exhalation. And the aliveness, the pulsing, or whatever sensation you're noticing through your hips and legs and feet. You sense the whole body, how there's a natural rhythm and flow of sensation in your body. You don't need to strain or force or direct. How it's already here in the softening, your very presence. Underlying pulse or energy that's like a vitality and aliveness, just a life force that animates your body. You meet it fresh in this moment. So it's not so much moving through your mind, you're feeling and sensing your way, aligning, listening to this underlying river of sensation that's enlivening the body. You might join with the current of each breath, the subtle energy or sensation of the inhalation. Feel it as sensation as it flows in through the nostrils, spills downward, opening through the throat, chest, the whole torso in that gentle expansion. The softening, the receding, and the natural rhythm of the exhalation as pure sensation and energy. Rises up through the throat, out through the nostrils, empties out in all directions. Feel how there may be a melting or a surrendering into this flow. It's arising, unfolding, and dissolving all on its own. There doesn't need to be an I thought to push it in any direction. Now, even as this unfolds naturally on its own, how there's this witnessing presence, just this abiding sense of being, whole and complete, just as it is. You can continue to open into this natural flow, this natural rhythm, this resting here, being nourished. and how listening arises from this source. And how you may see if there's something that wants to be shared. How, if it does, it just arises all on its own from this source, this essence. So I'm going to speak a little bit, share a few thoughts, but you don't have to leave home. Eyes may open, they may stay closed. There's nowhere to go. There's just this rhythm. This underlying essence. So as I was thinking about what to share in this month's meditation and conversation together, it's really still in this rhythm, this flow, this quietude, and this inward draw that actually we started to explore last month. So here I'm teaching from the Northern Hemisphere. I know for those of you in Australia, the Southern Hemisphere, it's your summertime, but here it's the wintertime. Either way, what I'm opening into can be tapped into no matter the season. But up here in the Northern Hemisphere, we're still in this winter season, where it's just quite natural to attune and heed the call of this inward pull towards rest, towards a quiet nurturance. And today's offering is really simple. It's just an offering to continue with that sense of slowing down, of resting, of listening to this natural rhythm that's flowing. And it's so easy when we get busy and we feel like we're being drawn by, the busyness of life, that it feels like it outshines this natural rhythm and this underlying flow, but it's always here, very much like an undercurrent or in that river that's deep, deep, deep within. So even amidst our inner stillness, we may feel that inner current. It's a paradox. It's a dynamic stillness where, both the stillness that's here, that's a part of our essential nature. It also has a natural current to it and a natural rhythm or flow. And I don't know about you, but I find that in the wintertime, it's like winter itself. Everything is starting to open more and more into that sense, or slow more and more into that sense of hibernation, that sense of stillness. But the days are starting to get longer. We have a little bit more light, and with that, we may feel like we're starting to be carried by this underground river that's nourishing a source of energy and vitality. Maybe that is something that's coming alive for you. Maybe not. Maybe it's still more that sense of deep, deep quietude and stillness, that sense of hibernation. But within it, we can start to feel that spark, that flow of energy and vitality. And that's part of aligning with the unseen, isn't it? With that potential that I was talking about last month that's yet to emerge. And so last month was more about just really feeling the hibernation, the stillness. Today I'm offering an exploration, if it feels right to you. You get to find yourself and hopefully someplace in this offering that feels true and alive for you. But today is about recognizing that there's a flow, there's a rhythm, there's perhaps the beginning of an energy or a vitality that we can start to sense. But it takes a quieting, paying attention, a deep listening to start to attune with that natural rhythm and flow. So what we're opening into here is that building energy and vitality that's not yet sprung into its expression quite yet, but yet we can feel it. We can feel that subtle flow, that subtle rhythm, that subtle surge, if you will. I think of this like, last month we were talking about the seed during hibernation and how all the potential is there in the seed, right? And it's just dormant. But as we flow into, even though we're still in wintertime here, as we start to flow and it's from deep rest though, as we start to attune, we might be sensing the energy that's here, that's building, that's prior to any of the shoots starting to burst forth above the ground. But yet we're starting to feel the energy building that sends the shoots outward, And what can happen is sometimes we want to encourage that. Our preference can't help it, and it starts to get involved where it doesn't need to be involved. And it can begin to push things along, trying to rush it, right? Trying to force it. So this is where at the beginning I was saying it's not an addition. We don't necessarily need to add anything to it. If anything, it's a subtraction so that we can align and deeply listen and surrender into this energy just as it is. And then this underlying river, if you will, this underlying rhythm, it's just this beautiful oasis. It's this source from which we drink. It's the source from which then we can move into our day, but from this deep, deep source that continues to feed us and nourish us. Another metaphor, another way that we talk about this in the teaching then is opening into a sense of inner calm, inner stillness, the dynamic stillness, or this wholeness of being, because we're really opening more into the source of our wholeness, the source of our perfection. There's nothing that needs to be, added here, as I've said over and over again. And we can attune by slowing down, resting, and deeply listening. And then we can start to feel the rhythm of this, the underlying pulse and the perfection of it, and recognize there isn't anything that you need to do. There's nothing that you have to add. There's nothing that you have to defend. Just resting, just being. So this is what our practice is about today. It's just really going to be about slowing down and paying attention to this inner pulse or this inner rhythm, and to listen to what wants to emerge just through sensing, not through the ego taking over and wanting to drive it with an agenda, right? It's more from our presence. And then when we do begin to move forward, fueled by this underground river, this source, this natural rhythm, we're aligning with that natural rhythm of life, of how life wants to live through us. And this is where we can feel that we're engaging our life from a deep sense of creativity, from that life-enhancing source, right? And it's really, it's incredibly remarkable when we live from here, from here, from this heart essence, from our deeper truth. I don't know, hopefully you can begin to sense this, and it's a resonance that's here that we're all sharing and tapping into. It's one source that we all experience and that we're each an expression of. We're each a unique expression of it. What we're tapping into is shared. It is our interconnected wholeness. And then part of what we're opening into in meditation is trust. It's an inner trust. How can we trust this even if it has yet to emerge? So we're starting to open into something before its emergence, so we can attune to it. We can become, ultimately there's no separation. So it's so connected. It's like a communion with our deepest self with a capital S. A communion with that essence. Anyway, I don't know about you, but when we start to tap into that and we begin to swim or be floating, if you will, amongst this river and this natural rhythm, there's such an ease and a contentment there, such a sense of vitality and being filled. It's its own energy that keeps calling us home, gives us a home ground from which we can enter into the world. Yeah. So I just thought I'd check in. That's what's flowing here. Hopefully it's something that you can begin to tap into and see if there's anything that you want to share, anything that's coming forward for you as I'm opening into this that might support us all before we dive into this more fully in a meditation. Yeah. Is it Tanya? Mhm.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi.
I like how you say the seed inside, and then trusting how its growth, even it has yet to emerge, and how fulfilling this could be. Even if the emerging is is to be. Is not there. And about slowing down, and that's really what we need, is slowing down.
Yeah.
And so I'm understanding that because I've taken a course with you and Richard, and it's my first time with you here for the monthly, even though. And so yeah, that's really the point here, where to emphasize on. And that even if we fail, I use the term, we don't really fail. It's just part of the learning, of the growth.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to share that. Thank you for your input about the seed and how it grows.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for your input. It's true. I think that it's so rich to be with the energy and attune with the energy even before it emerges, Is it so alluring to our personality, or just especially in Western culture, we want so much to go for the juice, to know how it's all gonna come forward, or and it's it's so rich to be with the essence of it without having to force it and mold it into something that we think it should be, right? Before the wisdom is letting it unfold.
Yeah, because I like to say something that from experience, where you force something, and sometimes, yeah, you get it and it's there for you. There is such a beauty, you missed what's beautiful about it.
Mhm.
And so it happens that the losing happens so fast also,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's not hooked, it didn't grow, it just was just a jump. What happened in between? The
Yeah.
importance of that, the in between.
Hmm. Exactly. And hopefully, like as we keep building on this, then the attuning and the rhythm and the underlying current and that sense of being and our presence, hopefully we become so sensitive to it that we can feel its essence even as the emerging unfolds and even as the full blossoming unfolds, right? There is the moments where we feel like um, we just forget, if you will, our natural essence, and we come into our personality and its expression, and that's all fine too. But um, over time, we might realize that we can feel both the preference, the personality, our quote involvement with it, and just that underlying current of its unfolding. And so we're just taking this in stages and hopefully attuning and listening so that we can just stay deeply listening and feeling and sensing through its whole life cycle, if you will, you know? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your share. Anybody else? There's a nice share from Betty. Thanks, Betty, in the chat. Connecting to the flow that's not yet blossomed as well. Wonderful. So hopefully today will give you a chance to cocoon. Yeah. All right. Wonderful. Well, thanks for all the shares in the chat. Um, there's a question about how to keep sensing when the ego keeps coming out. That's a great question. I might turn that into the theme for next month or one of these coming months for sure. But I'd say that we have to be willing to be uh, submerged, even as the ego. We have to be willing to lose ourself, so to speak, with a capital S, and to open into the forgetting, and that over time, through sensing and attuning, there'll come a moment where we realize, oh, look, aha, it's the ego that's pushing me forward, that's feeling like it's in control. And we start to attune and we become so subtle that we actually feel the subtlety of our personality as it tries to push and be in charge, which is its job, is to think that it's in charge. When really this deeper rhythm is what's informing us as we're moving through life. No, it's not that there's not a place for the personality, but it's all the practices that we offer are here to help us become exquisitely sensitive. And we have to be willing to recognize that the forgetting and the being fused with our personality is also an expression of essential nature. That's no less of an expression and no less suffused as source as is the moments of, when we recognize and we feel this deep sense of being or our underlying source or essence. So we have to be willing and know that that's a natural part of it. And we become so sensitive and we keep touching back in until what feels like that underlying current, that underlying river just begins to become ever present and something that we begin to feel and sense no matter what, whether the personality is shining forth in a strong way or not. We can feel the underlying essence, and it's an attuning and an aligning that just stays more and more online. But it's okay either way. Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. Oh, there's so much richness. I'm going to save the chat so that I'm going to ponder some of your reflections and questions, and they're going to inform what we talk about next month. Because I think that this is something that is a natural, we can continue the conversation for sure. But I also want to give us time just to experience it. So, does that sound good? Those of you that still have your cameras on? Okay, great. Wonderful. I got a lot of thumbs up. All right. So let's keep going from here, right? Take a sip of water. And hopefully you can leave your, for this part, you can leave your cameras on or off, whatever's most comfortable for you. But either way, hopefully you can sense, even in this moment, how you can feel perhaps sensation up in your mind from some thoughts that have been happening, some, questions or ideas that are spontaneously coming up through our conversation. So we're not denying that, but at the same time, how you can sense inward, how you can feel down and let your attention land into the heart space, the central core of your body. And for some of you, it might be deeper down into your hara or the solar plexus, or even all the way down to the floor of your torso. But we're attuning to this natural flow once again, how it's been here all along, hasn't it? That underlying hum and vibration of your body. It's just the subtlest shift of attention. Your attention may have been more in the thinking for a while, and now we're shifting down, reacquainting ourselves and realigning with sensing. So feel the body resting here. How truly there's nothing you need to do. This is an offering to your whole system to come into a few moments of rest, of being held, and of quiet. Sense how sound is naturally coming and going, the sounds of the space of the room around you, or the sound of my voice. But you don't have to grasp towards the sound. You don't even have to label it. In a way, we're setting it free, how it's just happening on its own, and you can feel it more and more as vibration. And feel yourself as a receptivity to sound. If the eyes are open, you might let them find a place to softly land, have a focal point, maybe taking in the peripheral view so that you're not labeling any one thing. There's more of a wider lens of just pure seeing. And if eyes are closed, how there's a seeing through the inner eyes, if you will, through sensing. So joining with that underlying hum or vibration of the body once again. Just feel the whole body globally, how it has a natural pulsing or vibration or warmth. See what's true for you. On the surface underneath your body, the space around you, how you're being held, how you can let go into this sense of being held. And perhaps opening into an intention just to join with this underlying pulse or natural rhythm of your body without any need for it to be any different than it is. Even if it's the subtlest current underneath a sense of fatigue, maybe there's just a softening, so slight but undeniable. And how there's this sense here, just simply being. Nothing you need to do or know. Just a deep sense of okayness in this moment, just as it is. Or as there's a resting and a settling more and more, you might notice a quality of ease and contentment. deep equanimity. You open into this sense of deep okayness, peace, contentment, and notice how it feels in the body. How does it light up? Is it silky or soft? What's its distinguishing mark? Might be energetic, spacious. And how thoughts may come and go, images, daydreams. But in the moment of noticing them, you can set them free. And allow attention to just drop back down into this underlying rhythm. This felt sense of ease. Peace. And perhaps there's an emerging of a wholeness that's here that begins to be recognized. Just this wholeness of simply being when there's no striving or trying to become anything. Just this. And how you might feel this natural aliveness and vibration. Feel it through the head. This natural aliveness or energy pulsing. You sense down through the shoulders, arms, and hands once again, just letting them come alive as sensation. Feeling the whole inner walls of the torso, front and back, left and right. The dome that's at the floor of the torso, all the way, the upper dome that is the clavicle, the shoulder blades, and all the space in between. Just feel your way. Sensing down through the hips, the legs, the feet, pure sensation. And the whole body once again, underlying throb or pulsing of its natural rhythm. This deep listening, surrendering, resting. simply being this wholeness, something here that's very timeless. Perfect just as it is, without needing to become or emerge. It's this underlying pulsing vitality and aliveness. The body breathing itself can join the inhalation, how it arises spontaneously, this deep stillness. Feel the natural rhythm and sensation, this energy of the inhalation as it cascades downward through the throat, into the chest, expanding the torso. The fullness of the inhalation reveals a stillness, a natural rhythm and flow of sensation of the exhalation unfolding. You join with its rhythm, this upward flow of sensation through the throat, out through the nostrils in all directions, following the exhalation as it empties out into a moment of stillness. Each arising of the natural flow of inhalation and exhalation as pure sensation, how it's happening on its own. And how at the fullness or culmination of each breath reveals its home ground of stillness. Perhaps resting or melting like sugar into water is stillness itself. Even as this natural rhythm and flow of sensation and energy unfold, how both are true. This natural rhythm unfolding and the abiding stillness. So there's a dynamic stillness. Let go of striving, just join with what is revealing itself. And the breath may become so subtle, almost imperceptible yet undeniable. And how it's just set free. It's just happening on its own. Natural underlying current, sensation, energy. perhaps a unfolding of a particular emotion or thought, image. But how each is just like a butterfly that's just flying by. Feel yourself more as this wholeness of being, open, spacious, still. This awake awareness that's here, in which the natural current of aliveness and vitality unfold. Feel this awake awareness. Very much like the field in which anything that's coming and going is unfolding and dissolving. There's something here that's unchanging. Let go of seeking. There's more of a resting, softening. To the wholeness that you are. As you're resting more, is this underlying dynamic stillness or this ease of being. Might notice a soft underlying current of contentment or pleasure, perhaps a touch of wonder. If it's here, just notice how it unfolds, how it's sensed in the body. Underlying contentment or pleasure or wonder, maybe for no reason at all. It's just an expression of this underlying essence and its natural current or rhythm. And just sense, what would it feel like to move out into life carried by this underground river, this flowing essence, this natural rhythm, so that you're moving from this flow, from this pulsing rhythm, a sense of being. How this is the underlying vitality or source that expresses itself through your personality. How your personality really is flowing from this deep source. And if it feels right, you might touch into a heartfelt calling or longing. Maybe just more of a felt sense here. It may still be more of an energetic or pulsing sensation, or it may have a one-word essence. If you were to move out and live into life from this source, living as an expression of this underlying life energy, how would you want to live? What's this deep calling that wants to be expressed through you? And don't go to the mind for the answer. Just keep sensing. You might just stay open to the question. It might be something to be lived out, felt into. And just see if there's any other inner ritual or inner knowing that wants to be affirmed and recognized in this moment. And then as you're ready, if it feels right, because you can stay here as long as you'd like, but there's an open invitation as you're feeling this underlying source and this ease of being, this natural rhythm, how you might gently and softly open and close your eyes a few times so that the room around you and the world is reawakening in you. But how this underlying calm or contentment, this aliveness, how it's here, it doesn't stop, how it's continuing moment to moment. And how, as you move into the rest of your day or the next few days or weeks until we see each other again, how all you have to do is the subtlest shift of attention to come back home to this underlying current, this source, and this ease of being. It's always available. Always. Nobody has to know that it's what you're doing. Anyway, may it call you home again and again and again, no matter how many times we seem to lose ourselves along the way. It's just a part of it, my friends, in its perfection. So thank you for today. Thanks for all your comments. I'm going to share the chat. Feel free to share the chat if you'd like. You want to drop in a one-word essence of how you're feeling or anything before we say goodbye, or if you want to come off mute and say goodbye, we'll just have a moment of community if that feels right. And if you're still in that inward space, you can feel free to drop off at any time. It's a pleasure, really, to come together like this. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Namaste.
Be well,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Yeah.
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
Bye.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome.
Bye-bye.